My old job was to make things explode, right? I would blow things up. And that could be a bridge, that could be a house, it could be weapons. Didn't really matter what it was. I dealt with TNT, dynamite, C4, plastic explosives. I did it for years in the Army. And while I had this job, people would always say, "Why did you pick it?" Right? There's no transferable skills. What are you doing? The only thing you can do when you get done with this job is you could be a security guard, or you can work in fast food or retail, something like that. Because there are no transferable skills. And I would hear this day in and day out, week after week, month after month, and I started to believe it to a certain extent. But another thing is, while I was in the military, I had administrative experience. I dealt with spreadsheets. I did PowerPoint, right? Because I was teaching soldiers. All of this experience, nobody was talking about that. Nobody was talking about how you can use that to leverage and attain a decent level job when you get out of the military. And I believe many people are stuck in this type of situation. You have experience, but it's not directly related to any particular career path. So you feel stuck. You undervalue your experience. You say, well, I've only done this. How could I possibly get a government job? How can I possibly be a GS-13 or a GS-14? Because you're not really accounting and valuing the skills that you learned along the way. I don't care what you did. You could have been a dog cleaner, right? One of the people that gives dogs a bath and then gives them a little haircut or whatever. That person has skills, right? There's scheduling involved in that. There's organization, there's operational skills that come with that. It doesn't matter the job. And let's say you're unemployed, big old work gap, right? You have a huge gap, but you've been volunteering. If you volunteer, that is experience and it's valuable. The other day I went to a T-Mobile. I was there to get another phone. And as I'm talking to the guy, the customer service representative or whatever they call those people, as I was talking to him, I asked him, I'm like, hey, how do you like your job? And he says, it's pretty good. T-Mobile has good benefits, good package, man. They're paying for part of my school. I was like, wow, he seemed really happy. He was energetic, his face lit up. And I said, oh, okay, so what are your future plans? Are you gonna try to get into corporate? Is that something that interests you? And he was like, well, I don't know. I would like to earn a little bit more money because I'm thinking about having a family. And I was like, well, that's great. Thinking about having kids? He's like, yeah, but I want to earn at least $80,000 a year before I have any kids. So, well, that's pretty smart. You want to make sure you're earning, a decent salary before you bring kids into the world. That also let me know that he wasn't making $80,000. So whatever his compensation, maybe it was 50, 60, or 70. And I said, you ever consider maybe getting a government job? And he told me, no, my mother worked in the government, but, I don't think that's for me. I said, in this area, a GS-12, step 5, that's a 6-figure job. And he's like, yeah, that seems okay, but I don't think it's for me. So I talk a little bit more about his work history. He had 10 years working at a Foot Locker, and 5 of those was as a manager. So he has some level of managerial experience. And he's been at this T-Mobile for a couple of years. So I was thinking, why doesn't this man feel confident enough in order to start targeting government jobs? His mother's in the government, so he obviously knows, some of the benefits. Now, a government job isn't for everyone, but in his case, dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis, trying to help them get into a phone plan or whatever it is, I think that it could be suitable for him. It would help him attain that $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year he's looking for, and he's still working in an indoor environment doing administrative tasks. So, it made me scratch my head. I don't understand what the disconnect was. So that leads me to another person I was talking to. This was a housewife for the last 10 years, and she wanted to get a job, right? She wanted to get into the workforce, but she didn't think she was qualified. Not for a government job, pretty much not very many jobs. She wanted to work at Barnes & Noble or Starbucks. She wanted to work at something like that. So understanding her work history more, she was telling me that she had volunteered at a lot of organizations. The ones, the PTA, the local church, all of that. She had done event planning, fundraising, a lot of these type of events that involve a lot of administrative skills. So she had experience. It wasn't paid. And it doesn't matter if it's paid or not. What matters is how long you've done it. What are the hours? So you can input it on your resume. Maybe it's a 40-hour-a-week type volunteer position. Those exist. You can list it. You can get credit for that type of experience on your resume. So fast forward a few months, now she's a GS9. Putting to use a lot of the administrative experience that she gained doing a lot of this volunteer work. Which takes me to this point here. You do not need to be special or super connected in order to get a government job. There are over 2 million employees in the federal government, and in any given day, you will find over 10,000 jobs across the country, across the world, that are looking for people with the skills and experience needed in order to perform that function to assist everyone. And there's a lot of people that feel you need to be a veteran, you need to be a Native American, you need to join the Peace Corps. You do not need to be any of those things because half of the jobs are open to the public. There was a survey done recently where students were asked, are you considering a government job after graduation? A third, so 33% of them did not even know it was a possibility. They never even entertained the thought in their head for one moment. So obviously, the message isn't getting out there. You can be an average individual, a regular US citizen off the street, and there's probably a spot for you where you can use your experiences in the government. Now, I don't mess around too much with explosives or weapons these days. I'm not worried about enemy activity. I have a government job. And in my opinion, it allows me to contribute to the country in a better way. The key will always be, how do you translate what you have done, your experiences, your value? How do you translate that so a hiring manager understands that you are best qualified for this position? Once you bridge that gap, the job offers will start coming in. So why pick a government job out of all the other jobs that you could be applying for and you can be working in? Well, we talk about on here all the time about the benefits. There's a lot of benefits that come with a government job. One of the main ones is the pension, right? Guaranteed money for the rest of your life. You don't have to worry about the stock market. You do not have to worry about economic conditions. Talking about economic conditions, a recession. If a recession comes, when it comes, or if it gets worse, the government is one of the few recession-proof jobs because the government doesn't operate off of profits. They operate off of taxpayers. So they're less likely to have massive layoffs or huge reduction in forces because the mission of the government has to continue despite what's going on in the world. So if that interests you and you are starting to consider maybe a government job is right for you, I want to share with you a few of the jobs that you could be qualified for. And if you want to learn about that, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.